Good afternoon. So I'd like to start this morning, or this afternoon, with I'm apologizing for the nosebleed. I do not speak Tagalog. I have lived here for 26 years and I'm hopeless. Good afternoon. For the next 6 hours of lecture, you all will go through no, just joking, not 6 hours. I was asked to do an hour. I have 100 slides to get through in an hour. So for those of you who don't remember, I did an AI lecture a while ago. AI is much more exciting, but we'll try to get through this one anyway. Information assurance and security is a big topic, and I figured that out as I was getting ready for the talk today. Who am I and why do I care? I'm the CTO, CIO, and DPO of Marsman Drysdale Group. We have about 6,000 employees all over the Philippines. And one of our companies is a travel agency. You're just going to have to wait till they get it on upstairs. I have no idea. This part's not important anyway. The GDPR, or the Data Privacy Act of 2012, has made it very important for everybody to have data assurance and data privacy as well as security. A company can be shut down because they lose somebody's data. You can be fined out of existence. If we as a travel agency lost even just a fraction of the data that we have, credit card numbers, passports, visas, the fines from the Philippine government could be large enough to make us not exist anymore. And right now, our business is about 5 billion pesos a year. So think about it, a law that includes data privacy, data assurance, data security, that can put a 5 billion peso company out of business in a day. I've done this, I appreciate the introduction, but unfortunately I've done this for 45 years now. I will be a senior citizen next year. And I started in things that you all have never even seen. Punch cards, mainframe computers, calculators the size of this room. And I've gone all the way through AI. My last talk here was on AI, which is probably much more exciting than this one. But I've done networking, I've done systems, I've done data security. And one of the questions that a lot of you are going to ask, and I'm going to head this one off before you ask it, sir, what certifications do you have? I have absolutely none. I come from the school of hard knocks. When I started doing data privacy and data security, there was no certification. And yet I've taught certification classes for years. One of these days, maybe I'll go back and get the certification. I guess if I teach it, I should probably have it. But the goal for today is really to look at data assurance, information assurance, data assurance and security, and make it practical for you. So for those of you who have been paying attention, 45 years means that in the great scheme of time, there was me, then there was dirt, then there was dinosaurs, sailing ships, rotary telephones, and AI. So I'm slightly older than dirt. Not quite. Next slide. So if we're looking at information security, we want to keep in mind that in information security, it's about people, places, technology, and planning. I know everybody came in today expecting a huge topic of really technical stuff. But in fact, in information assurance and security, technical is only a small portion. Next. So what information security really means is not just cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a small section of information security as a whole. When we think about information security and assurance, people are both the strongest and the weakest link, and that's what we're going to spend a good 20 minutes at least talking about today. Hardware, buildings, habits that protect data. There's a lot of things that go into this. It's not just a firewall. I was working in a company one time. I walked in and I saw, oh, they bought a firewall. It was sitting right there. I mean, that's great. When are we going to install it? What do you mean install it? Well, you bought it. When are you going to put it into your network? Oh, we bought it. We're safe. No. So a lot of what goes into cybersecurity is not just, and you'll get this as we go along. Sorry, I'm going to sweat a lot. Fat man, hot building, this is going to be a bad time. But a lot of what goes into this is just not buying something and sitting it there and hoping for the best. It also looks at how organizations plan for risks. And finally, at the end of this, I'm going to look at some career paths, because every one of you here could have a job in cybersecurity immediately in the Philippines or elsewhere in the world. Next slide. So this is how it's going to work today. Ask questions if you can get my attention, or at the end, if you can't, please put your phones on silent. Photos are allowed, just don't take my picture. I don't like pictures. You don't need perfect English. I'm perfectly happy to try to help understand. We have people to translate if English is not your thing. And I want this to be fun. This is not just sit down and the big white guy is going to talk about security for the next 2.5 hours. Hopefully it's going to be fun. Next slide. So the scope of this talk, what is information security? It's way, way past just the cyber part. We will get to the cyber part, that's toward the end. But first, let's look at all the other things that have to do with security. Next. I'm going to have to get used to this next thing. What does information security really mean? It means protecting information wherever it lives, digital or physical. So think about that for just a second. When people hear information security, they usually imagine hackers sitting in a dark room, eating pizza and drinking soda pop, and trying to break into systems. But information security means a lot more than that. It's about helping people in your company or in your school learn how to do things to protect themselves and to protect other people. So let's see how big the world of cybersecurity really is. Next slide. So information is everywhere. Computers and phones, that was a given. But it also exists on paper. In the Data Privacy Act of 2012, if you write personal information on a slip of paper, Post-it note, and then throw it away in the garbage can, you've broken the law and you can be fined up to 1 million pesos. So if you write Servilog's phone number on a slip of paper, and you have his name on that piece of paper and his phone number, and you throw that piece of paper away, if he wants to be nasty to you, he can take you to court and he'll win because you broke the law. So when we think about information, it's not just what sits on a USB, a disk drive, or the internet. It can also be a conversation. You have to protect data when you're talking to people. And it can be what's in your head. Next. So we have the privacy of people, the safety of operations, business continuity, and reputation and trust. These are the things that we're protecting when we protect information. We're protecting Servilog's phone number. We're protecting the safety of a business operation. If you lose that data, that company can go out of business. You're also providing continuity. If you lose that data and you cannot process it any further, that business may not exist next week. Part of the Data Privacy Act says that the data has to be accessible. It means you can't just lose it. You can't accidentally delete it. And for a business, it also means reputation and trust. Next. So what we're going to look at is the CIA triad. Confidentiality, keep the data private. Integrity, keep the data accurate. And availability, keep it running. That's the core of information assurance and security. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So there's 5 dimensions, next. There are 5 dimensions. I'm going to have to get used to this next thing. There's 5 dimensions to protect: people, physical, buildings, hardware, and software. I'm sure when you signed up to come sit through this, you were expecting to hear the hardware and software part. But actually, that's the easy part. The hard part is everything on top. People are the biggest cybersecurity problem that anybody has. And we're going to spend some time, and I'm going to try to get done on time, so I'm going to do this much faster than planned. But people are the biggest problem. Hallway conversations, notes on pieces of paper, passwords that say, "I love you." A lot of what we do with protecting data with people is just training and awareness. We can protect things with keys, with badges. We can use locks and guards. We can protect buildings with access control. So this little badge lets me in during 9 to 5, but it won't let me in on weekends. And of course, hardware and software, you're pretty much aware of in this college. We have computers and phones, and we have applications and data. Encryption. Again, these are things that you all are used to. So for some real world examples. We're getting good. Real world examples of data breaches. A student shares a password with a classmate. No hands, but think about it. Have you ever shared your password for something with one of your classmates? That's a data breach. No, I don't want to know. I know that it would be at least 30% of this room, but I don't want to know. Missent email. You all aren't corporate yet, but if you're writing, I'm a guy, so I'm going to do this from a guy's standpoint. If you're writing a love letter to the girl who you have a crush on, and you actually accidentally send it to somebody with a similar name, that is an information catastrophe, because now you're really embarrassed. But you missent an email with confidential data. The confidential data was you were in love with them. How many of you have lost a USB before? With private files. Stolen laptops. We're in the Philippines. Nobody ever steals a laptop. And last, server rooms unlocked. In the corporate world, we have server rooms, and you would be stunned at the number of times that I walk past a server room and it's wide open in different offices. All of these are real-world examples of potential data breaches. So how does security fail? Weak or reused passwords. Again, none of you are guilty of this. I'm absolutely sure all of you have 20-digit passwords that have letters, numbers, symbols, upper and lower case. Nobody has a simple password here. All IT students. Unlocked devices, shared accounts. None of you ever, I'm absolutely positive, nobody in this room ever clicks first and thinks later. You've never gone to an email message and just clicked. And then, oh my gosh, what did I do? And finally, overconfidence. People think it won't happen to me. Now, since all of you are perfect, I will share with you that I am not. I have done this for over 45 years now. And I'll tell you that the tricky emails, the tricky text messages are getting a lot better. I got to the point, at one point in an email message, I actually clicked on the link. And then I thought, you idiot. I did not follow through and give them my credentials. However, I was stupid enough to click on the link. It happens. It happens to all of us. And the best thing to do in those circumstances is to admit the mistake. So security, next slide. Security is a team sport. Everyone is responsible, everybody has to participate, and everyone can make small actions to matter. Always report suspicious activities. So some habits that work, next slide. Same password everywhere. Again, I don't want a show of hands, but how many of you have used the same password? I'll give you an example in a little while of why that's a problem. But what that means for you in reality is one person gets that password, they know your password everywhere. Leaving a screen unlocked, sitting in Starbucks, walk away from your computer, your screen is unlocked. Do you know how long it would take me as a not nice person to take everything I needed off of your laptop? Seconds. You just go to the bathroom, I'll have it all. Another good one, public Wi-Fi without VPN. There's such a thing called a man-in-the-middle attack, and I was actually going to bring it today, but I figured that 6 hours was enough. I shouldn't go 8 hours. But I have a device that I carry around in my pocket. It's about the size of my wallet. It's about this big. And when I go into Starbucks, I can advertise that I'm Starbucks free Wi-Fi. And if you connect to it, you'll get free Wi-Fi. And I will capture every password you type in. I will capture every bank account you use. I will capture every time you're getting a one-time PIN to your email so that I can break into all of your accounts. Also, one of the best ways, writing on Post-it notes. Again, no show of hands. Don't want to know your sins or your own. But do you know how many times over the last 45 years I have been able to go into an office and find the person's password written on a Post-it note under the keyboard? I'm sure none of you would ever do that. But that is a huge security problem. Don't write your passwords on Post-it notes. So the smartest firewalls still click the wrong link. Even if you spent $100,000 on a firewall, if you click that link, the firewall's going to do it. So that's why the people side of this is so important. It's not just talking about the computer side, the network side, the equipment side. It's about people. Next. Because, next slide, you can't patch a person. You can't make that person not do the wrong thing. No. Everybody is going to have their own level of fear. My dad is 84 years old as of yesterday, and whenever he approaches the internet, it's like somebody walking into a lake of alligators. He's so afraid that he's going to do something wrong. He didn't grow up with the internet. You all have probably been using the internet since you were able to hold the phone in your hand, I suspect. For you, the internet is an extension of who you are. And you have built habits over the years, like, click on it, it'll work, that can get you in big trouble. So, why do we bother? Next slide. All of that was a long way of saying, when you talk about information assurance and security, 8 out of 10 breaches involve human error. So if you're going to be an information security person, if that's going to be your goal in life, and trust me, at the end of the presentation, I'm going to tell you why you want it to be your goal in life. If that's going to be your goal in life, 80% of your job is trying to not let people break your system. It has nothing to do with hackers in a dark room. It has to do with the secretary or the friend or the security guard. It's nothing to do with the router or the firewall or the server. Why is it this way? 3 primary reasons: mistakes, curiosity, and kindness. The way that things are breached, a huge amount of them are mistakes. Accidentally clicking on a link, accidentally giving somebody your password, accidentally using an easy password. But there's also the curiosity side. There's a USB on the ground. It says scandal on it. Maybe I want to see what's on it. I plug it in. I now have access to everything on your computer. You don't even have to click on anything. It's all mine. Kindness. We're in the Philippines. People here are friendly. People here are nice. They'll hold the door open for somebody who is carrying a large package. So you have a secured office. There's a delivery person with an armful of packages behind you. You hold the door open for them. Now they have access to your office. I did this with our travel agency during one of their security audits. I walked through the office. I picked up a box that had 75 passports in it. I took the box and I walked back to my desk and I waited for the explosion. And about 20 minutes later, there was panic. Oh my God, we lost 75 passports. That's a problem. You have to be conscious all the time. It can't just be something you think about every now and then. It has to be an ingrained response. Training beats blaming 100% of the time. So, common human mistakes. We just went through a few of them. Next. Clicking suspicious links. Fake update your password email. How many of you have gotten an email that says, click here to update your password? Don't do it. Bad idea. Weak passwords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Still one of the most popular passwords in the world. I don't know why. Sharing too much online. This is one for you guys. I'm the wrong generation. If you look at my Facebook, nothing. I don't exist. I'm the manager of an artist named Donalyn Bertolome. She posts me on her Instagram, on her Facebook, occasionally, and I make her take it down because I don't want people to know that. When I'm doing security work for Zina Barake, I do not want people to know that. I do not want any of this out. She's like, oh, just let me post your pic. No, do not post my pic. First, I'm fat and I'm old and I'm not very attractive, so please don't post my picture. But second, I don't want people to know this. When you share things, happy birthday to you, that gives people an attack vector for your password, because a lot of people use birthdays. Everything you share is an attack vector for breaking into your systems. Ignoring updates. But I don't want to do a Windows update right now. It takes forever and I'm busy. Ignore them at your own peril. Lucky find. I talked about the scandal USB. Lucky find. I found a USB. Oh boy. We use that to exploit things. And being nice. Letting people in. Do you know that I can literally, as a good ethical hacker, I can literally have access to your laptop for 5 seconds and infect you so that I can have anything. Little USB, I plug in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plug it out. Everything you have is mine. Not because I copied it, but because I gave myself access to your laptop forever and ever until you catch me. Next. So really what we're talking about is social engineering. This is the biggest topic in cybersecurity today. Social engineering. Data security is all about social engineering. Pretexting. Pretending to be somebody that you're not. Baiting, free USB. Anybody want a free USB? Tailgating, following somebody in open doors. And my favorite one, the phishing attack. We're going to talk about phishing. But it happens. So how do they use these psychological tricks? They use urgency. Hurry, your account is going to close. If you don't click here now and change your password, we're going to close your account. Fear. This is a security alert. We've seen an intrusion. Click here to secure your password immediately. Trust. Getting something from Servilog, from your boss, from your mother, from your girlfriend. Curiosity. Oh, I'm very sorry, but Servilog actually accidentally sent you all of the grades or the answers to the test or something like that. Do you click on it or not? Don't know. Or excitement. You've won. You've got a prize. You get a free computer. Just click here. So when I was putting this together, I actually put one together specifically for this. This is a message from Servilog to Eva, and I don't really know who Eva is, but she was copied on one of the email messages he sent me, so apparently she works here. But how do you tell that this wasn't real? It sounds like a real message. He says, "Hi, Eva. The IT department noticed your Office 365 account hasn't completed the new two-factor setup yet. Please verify your account before 3 p.m. today to avoid a temporary lockout of your student work email." Urgency, familiarity. It's from somebody I know. It even, if you look at it really fast, the email address even looks right. It's not. The domain for this college is not icct-edu.ph, but nonetheless, it looks pretty good. And if you're looking at it fast, and oh my God, it's 2 o'clock and I'm going to get locked out in an hour, just click here and give my security information. That's all it takes. So in this one, how do you see it? The header mismatch is a good one. Urgent deadline. When somebody emails you, sends you a text message, do this now. That's a huge warning sign. Deceptive link. Where does that verify link go? Trust me, it doesn't go anywhere good. Next. So we have spear phishing, which is personalized messages that are made to fool very smart users just like all of you. We also have people like executives, dean of students, admins, and they request something. You know, if you got an email message from Servilog saying, "We haven't received your tuition payment, please click here to make sure that your tuition payment is credited correctly," you would probably click there. However, you would be in big trouble. And the attacks are getting better. Dear Eva works much better than dear user. Dear, insert your name. If they know who you are, they can use that to manipulate you better. So next, this is an entire category called business email compromise, and it is huge. All it takes is one person getting credentials on your business, school, whatever network, and they can send you email that looks like it comes directly from them. This one's probably a little far-fetched. You probably wouldn't get an email from Servilog asking you to send him 50,000 pesos. But it's happened. At my company 3 years ago, there was a spear phishing attack that was targeted at my chairman's secretary. She does money transfers for him all the time. It came from his account on Gmail. It was sent to her. They knew the banking details. They knew everything. They were just saying, transfer money to this account. She almost did it. He almost lost a lot of money. However, She was smart enough, because we have almost every quarter we have a lecture on data security. She was smart enough to say, this doesn't look right. Would you please confirm this? And I confirmed it was wrong. Smishing, next one, smishing and vishing. Fake text messages. You're seeing a whole lot more of this in the Philippines right now. So, confession. This is actually a screenshot of my cell phone. This is a text message I received September 18th of this year. Came into my Gcash header with all my other Gcash transactions, and it said, your Gcash account is about to be deducted 300 pesos to bet 88. If this is not you, cancel it immediately. And they sent me a link. Now, my job is data security, so of course I didn't click the link. However, I passed it around the office just as a, what do you think? Oh, sir, it came to the Gcash. It has to be from Globe. It has to be a Gcash message. You should click it before they deduct money from you. Wrong. Very wrong. So you have to be very careful with what you do. This is not going to go well. I am very far behind. I'm on slide 28 of 107. I will go faster, I promise. So everyday human errors. Sent email to the wrong person, left the computer unlocked, shared the drive, open drive to everybody on a network. Next. So what we have to do as information security people is to create a culture of security. I promise you, if you go away from this talk today and just remember that, if you're going into information security and you do an interview, you'll get the job. Because me and other people in the industry do not want to hire people who just know how to configure a firewall. We want to hire somebody who understands that security is more than just a firewall. It's much, much more. So you want a culture that you talk about mistakes, say thank you when somebody reports a problem, and celebrate good catches. We're actually going to implement this next year in our companies. We're going to have a contest for the person who finds the most security breaches, and we're going to give them 20,000 pesos at the end of the first quarter. Whoever found the most, whoever sent to the IT group the most number, because when IT gets it, we can block the payload. So as an IT person, what do? You send us a phishing email message, we go into our firewall, and we block it so you can't click on the link. The link is blocked, so that anybody else who gets that message is now blocked. So telling somebody helps a lot. Next. Awareness training that works. Quick learning videos, short frequent reminders. Again, this is all pretty standard stuff. We do simulated phishing campaigns though. So in our travel agency, we actually send out phishing emails ourselves to try to see who needs more training. And it's not to put them on display and say, nee, we got you. It's to help understand where our training is lacking. And finally, leaderboards, positive reinforcement. Next. If you click the link, if you do it here, if you do it at home, if you do it in your business, number one, if you accidentally click it, disconnect from Wi-Fi immediately. Don't argue. Shut off Wi-Fi. Unplug the Ethernet cable. Call IT immediately, and don't delete the evidence. The worst thing in the world, I hate it when this happens. I get a secretary that calls us and says, oh, sir, we made a mistake. We clicked the link. Can I see the email? No, we deleted it. Do you know how hard it is? We can still do it, but instead of taking like 10 seconds, it takes us 15 minutes to find this. And it eats up one of my engineers' time for a quarter of an hour. Just save the evidence. It's much easier. So next, we have ethical hacking. And this is actually one of the jobs that I'm going to describe to you later. But this is one of the things you can do. You can be an ethical hacker, or what we call a red team. They do safe testing to find weaknesses in companies or in systems and build respect for real attackers' methods and mindset. These are the people who are the good hackers. They're the ones who know how it's done and help people not get caught. Sorry, I'm going to have to really speed this up or we're never going to get through. So what can you do? Good digital habits. Unique passwords, weekly updates, auto lock after 5 minutes, keep confidential information confidential. A lot of places, and again, I don't want a show of hands because I know it would be really, really depressing, but how many of you change your passwords ever? Seriously, ever? I have a password. I'm going to confess to make it easier on all of you. I have a password on an account that I have on Yahoo that has not changed for 26 years. Luckily, I know that's a compromised password, so that password is nowhere else. However, I use that to find out when hackers are trying to do things. Nothing important goes to that account. But you shouldn't do what I'm doing. Your job is not investigating hackers. Mine is. If you leave passwords forever and ever, people will eventually get them. I can buy 8 million passwords on the dark web right now for $500. Account password combinations. It's cheap. Next. So, just for you personally, again, I don't want answers, just think about it. Have you reused passwords? Does your phone or laptop lock every time you walk away? Do you check the links before you click on them, or do you just click on them? Next. So, just so you know I'm not lying to you, these are the top passwords worldwide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 million instances of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Confirmed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1.6 million instances. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 884,000 instances. QWERTY 1, 2, 3. QWERTY 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can read this as well as I can. I would really like to run the experiment, but I'm not going to because I don't want to embarrass anyone. But I bet at least a few people in this room have one of these passwords. It's just normal. Next. This is a build slide, I'm sorry, so we're going to go one by one. Phishing statistics. So the first one, cost. The average cost of a phishing attack related to a data breach is $4.8 million. This is why this is important. This is why all of you could have a job doing this when you graduate. The cost to a company on average for a successful phishing attack is $4.8 million. Next. Business email compromise scams led to over $2.7 billion in reported losses in the US in 2024. I'm pretty good with math, but I'm thinking that's somewhere around 100 billion pesos. North of 100 billion pesos. AI is generating content now that is used in over 80%, 82.6 as of the time of this survey, of phishing emails. So the emails that you're getting are no longer emails from a prince in Nigeria who wants to use your bank account to get his money out of Nigeria. You all are probably too young for that. That was the first version of a phishing attack. But 82%, and a 1,265% surge in phishing emails due to generative AI. So my last talk was on AI. You all didn't listen well. You're using AI for bad things, not good things. We don't want to use AI to do bad. Next. Human element. The human element is involved in over 60% of all cyber breaches. I said 8 out of 10 before. That's all breaches total. This is phishing specifically. Phishing is 60%. So 60% of the people are going to succumb to a phishing attack at some point. Next. 33% of employees are susceptible to phishing attacks. That's a scary number. Next. Training effectiveness, we can reduce that by 40% in 90 days. Next. And currently, one in every 99 emails is actually a phishing attack. If you take the internet as a whole and look, 1 out of every 99 emails sent on the internet is a phishing attack. And here's the bad part. Mobile threats, users are 4 to 8 times more likely to fall for a phishing attack on a cell phone. Why? Because you're busy doing something else. You just click. You're not thinking about it. You're on your phone, just like some of you are right now. You're on your phone and you're busy doing something else, and this is what happens. Next. So the trends of attacks right now are AI-driven. Next. Mobile phishing, which is smishing, increasingly targets cell phones. QR quishing, attacks that use malicious QR codes. See, when I was around, there wasn't a QR code. Now you all pay your bills through QR codes. Phishing, voice attacks, somebody pretending to be the P&P on the phone, trying to get your information. And now the websites that are bad are actually using CAPTCHAs. And finally, we're seeing a lot more invoicing scams. Okay, I'm going to speed this up because we're never going to make it. It's 2 o'clock. So, if you can touch it, you can hack it. I don't know how many of you have routers at home, have modems at home. If you can touch a piece of equipment, if you physically have access to a piece of equipment, you can break into it. Every piece of equipment in the world has a way to break into it if you have physical control of that equipment. Next. So protect what you can touch. Physical access, next. Physical access is total access. Once someone reaches the device, controls can all be bypassed. Whether it's a password, whether it's a lock on the top of the keyboard, whatever it is, we can bypass it. Next. So prevent the loss of equipment and confidential data. That's why we do physical security. Avoid business downtime and financial impacts, and comply with audit and data privacy standards. Again, in all of this, I'm completely ignoring the fact that the Philippine government is going to come after you for millions of pesos of fines if you lose that data. So, common business risks: unauthorized entry, unsecured devices, rogue USB devices, improper disposal of data. So you sell a PC that was from your HR department and you forgot to wipe the disk. So whoever bought that PC now has all of the data for every employee. A laptop is left in a car and somebody steals it. They have access to everything you had on that laptop. Next. I'm really sorry. We're going to have to go faster to get through this. This is an example. But one of the ways you can protect a data center is not just with a lock on the door, but having exclusion zones within that hardware space. So, I'm really bad at drawing, but the doors come in, you can walk down an aisle, you can walk between the machines, but you're not allowed to go behind them. That's a good way of protecting it. In most instances, we have USB ports on the front of servers. Most of us disable them so that people can't get at them. We don't want anybody getting access. So if somebody gets in that door, there's an alarm that goes off if they go into the restricted zones. We have CCTV that watches them. And some companies, I did security for the US government, talk about paranoid people. Nobody was allowed to go into a secure area alone. You had to have 2 people minimum. Next. So, protecting businesses, we assign device to a person, we track it. We use data encryption on the device, so if it gets lost, nobody can read it. We have lock screens on laptops for when we're away. And never, ever, ever, how many, okay, I do want hands this time. How many of you have ever charged your phone at a public charging station? Okay, I think a lot of you are not telling the truth, but I appreciate the truth where it came. Every time you plug your phone into one of those, it is a potential for your phone to get hacked. That means I have access to everything, including your one-time codes that come for your payments, anything. So, the network hardware and ports need to be secure. Secure routers and switches and lock cabinets. Change the default passwords. Again, for us in IT, the default password is username admin, password admin. You'd be stunned how many computer rooms I walk into and I can get into the router with admin. Disable unused Ethernet ports. If you're not using it, it doesn't need to be alive. And document who can access specific network gear. Oh, we're doing so good. 46 of 100. Okay, I'm going to really gloss through this. There's also environmental safety, though. Stable power. If you're ensuring, again, if you're complying with the Data Privacy Act of 2012, you are guaranteeing the access of the user's data. You need stable power, you need fire suppression systems, temperature and humidity, even a clean desk policy so that passwords can't be given away. Cybersecurity core, we secured the doors, now secure the data flow. Next slide. Now the part you've all been waiting for. Next, bits, bytes, and bad actors. So, why cybersecurity matters? Next. It maintains service uptime, it protects customers' data, and we comply with data privacy, GDPR, or other data protection laws. A 10-minute outage from ransomware in an e-commerce site can cost millions in sales and completely ruin the trust of the customers. Common attacks. I'm sure you've all heard of these. Malware infects systems. Ransomware locks every file in the system, encrypts it. Phishing, we've been talking about that. Denial of service. An attack by the network that does not let anybody access your network. And an insider attack. All of this, we've ignored bad actors. You can also have a rogue employee that will also, and you need to be able to protect against that. I'll give you an example. In our company, we have an online data system where we store all of our documents digitally. When someone deletes those documents, they're not actually deleted. There's simply a bit that's marked that says they're deleted. If a bad actor, a disgruntled employee goes into that system, deletes everything, IT can recover it because it didn't delete anything. But these are the things you have to worry about. Okay, the next part was supposed to be fun, but since I've already been here an hour, probably won't enjoy it as much. 2013 to 2014, Yahoo attack. 3 billion accounts and passwords were compromised. If you were alive, which all of you should have been, in 2013, 2014, and if you had a Yahoo account, your password was compromised. Whatever password you were using at that point is compromised. It's on the network, we know about it. Next attack, May 2017. WannaCry ransomware, 300,000 computers in 150 countries Hospitals canceled surgeries, ATMs shut down, transportation stopped. The trains stopped running. It was all because of a Windows that was not patched. They did not apply Windows Update. And because of that, things went down all over the world. The estimated cost of this one was somewhere between 4 and 8 billion US dollars. And on top of that, thousands of people died because they couldn't get surgery, because they couldn't call emergency services. Telephone systems went out of service. Next one. Sorry, I really wanted to talk more about these, but we really will be here 6 hours if I keep it up. June 2017, malware attack. Now, this one sounds really stupid. It was limited to the Ukraine. However, any company that had an office in Ukraine, like Maersk, Federal Express, Merck, Mondelez, shipping company, medical company, food company. They had offices in the Ukraine. One computer got infected in the Ukraine, shut them down worldwide. This one was an interesting attack because it wasn't a typical ransomware attack. They weren't looking for money. They were looking for chaos. All they did was delete files. And in a lot of cases, people didn't have backups. They were unrecoverable. And the malware actually did credential harvesting to spread even further. This was the largest attack, cyber attack in history. It was estimated to be over $10 billion in damage. Two more in 2020, SolarWinds attack. SolarWinds was a company that provided services to the big names all over the world. They used an open door, provided to thousands of computers, cost up to 5 billion US dollars. People that were affected, US Department of Treasury, Department of State, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice, NASA, Microsoft, Cisco, Intel, Deloitte, and Touche. It was a rogue patch. All of these companies and government agencies were using software. The hackers got into the patch that was distributed for the code and inserted their malware in the patch. Last one, 2021. Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack. Shut down one of the largest gas pipelines in the United States. The pipeline, in order to get turned back on, because it would have taken people like you and me so long to undo the damage, they paid $5 million. Now, this is not an advertisement to go out and create ransomware. I don't want you doing that. You're the good guys. But they paid $5 million in Bitcoin to get their network back. All of this was caused, and this is the real point of this one, by Isalang. One password was compromised. One. $5 million, $4 to $5 billion of damage because one VPN password was compromised. That's it. That's all it takes, one password. And what we learned from this, what the world learned from this one, a cyber attack can take out the entire energy supply of a country, in this case, the United States. We were the victims. So this stuff is real. Next. So what do you need to do to prevent these things from happening? And this is the exciting part for all of you because we're all techies here. You need a layered defense. You need to start at the network, host, application, and finally the person. Multiple controls, now I can't speak English, we're in bad shape. Multiple controls reduce single point failure. So there needs to be layers of defense. Next slide. First layer, firewall, routers, and switches. Again, I could do an entire day on how to configure firewalls correctly. You don't have time, and frankly, you're not interested. But you will be eventually. When we get to the end, you'll wish I had done that. Next, antivirus and endpoint detection and response systems, which we call EDR in the industry. Something that sits and looks at a computer all the time and reports if something changes that shouldn't change. Access controls and multi-factor authentication, patches and updates, backups and recovery. Because let me tell you, no matter how good you are, you will be compromised. I don't care who you are, I don't care what company you are, if you're Microsoft, if you're Intel, or if you're well, I was gonna say if you're the Philippine government, but Philippine government's probably been hacked more than anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, you're gonna get hacked. So your job as an information assurance and security person is to make sure that you can recover after you're hacked. Backups and recovery. Password authentication should be complex, use multi-factor, and avoid password reuse. I think I've said that enough today. Data needs protection, both at rest and in transit. What we're talking about is, in transit is when you're transiting the internet. If somebody intercepts your packets, can they read what you've sent? At rest is when it's sitting on a disk somewhere. Again, I could do a half a day on different encryption technologies. Trust me, there are different encryption technologies. They're all quite good at what they do, and they scramble things so that it makes it hard to find, not impossible to find. The Data Privacy Act does not expect perfection. It expects you to make a valiant effort. And that's how you defend yourself when you get sued for this. You tried your best and you still failed, because data security is not 100%. So the best practices are always keep drives encrypted, devices encrypted, and keep backups, and ensure transmission of sensitive data and communications are secure. We're picking up speed. Testing. Okay, if you want me to leave, just tell me. Don't shut my stuff off, okay? Keep things patched. Most of the time when you see a patch that comes out for your phone, your system, your software, it's security. Almost every time we're looking at security patches. And if you're in an environment like mine where it's commercial, you test the patches before you roll them out. Again, best example of this, if you all remember last October, the entire world stopped flying because a patch was sent out through Microsoft that took down pretty much every airline in the world. We don't want that to happen. That's embarrassing. So there are a lot of things that we call, next slide, that we call zero-day attacks. These are software attacks that come out usually the first few days that software is released. The hackers find something. I was going to go through these. I'm not. We'll just put them all up. Here. Okay. I can move this. Yes. No? There. Okay. Okay, Stuxnet in 2010, a virus that was so powerful, it broke real machines, destroying Iran's nuclear equipment without a single bullet fired. Now, we just watched Mr. Trump drop a whole bunch of bombs on the nuclear facilities in Iran. Those aren't repairable either. This was the first major proof, large scale, that software can break the hardware. We actually had the hardware broken. All of the centrifuges were broken. As I understand it, what the attack did is it spun the centrifuges up so fast through software that it caused them to self-destruct. That's a good way of shutting down a nuclear program. Heartbleed, the next one. A flaw in a web security that let hackers read secret information like passwords and private messages straight from memory. You went to a web page and everything in your computer's memory is theirs. That was fun. WannaCry. Global ransomware attack that locked up hundreds of thousands of computers in hospitals, businesses, and governments. We talked about this one. The next one is called Pegasus. This is the one I wanted to, next, Pegasus, there. Pegasus spyware, 2016 to 2021. Anybody heard of Pegasus before? Not the horse. The spyware. You did not even have to click anything. Just receiving the text message on your phone compromised your phone. You didn't even have to read it. All you had to do was receive it, and your phone was compromised. So this data security stuff is serious. Next. Log4Shell, a bug hiding inside of millions of apps that gave hackers access to keys to almost every server on Earth, and nobody saw it coming. So network security, next, sorry. How do we even, if all this stuff can happen, how do we even bother to try to do this? Why don't we just all give up and go home? Well, there are things we can do. Certainly firewalls, when configured properly, not when sitting in the box in the corner that it came in. Intrusion detection and prevention systems, segmentation of networks, and virtual private networks. You can, and we have in almost every business case, segmented our network so that, in my case, I'm the CTO of a conglomerate. If one of our conglomerate companies is attacked, they can't get out of that network to another network. Or, in a smaller company, if IT is attacked, it can't get out of IT going to accounting or to HR or to someplace else. So the next few slides, we're going to go through these line by line. No. I just wanted to give you an example. So what I did, and we can just flip through these, we don't have to look at them, but these are the dump of my firewall at my office. This is how many rules that we have on just our one firewall at our office. So continue to go through them. Yeah. Next. That's it. When you're doing this right, it's not just type a few lines and you're done. There's a lot that goes into it. If you want to have a course on that, it's probably a semester. Incident response cycle. Detect, contain, recover, learn, and go back to detect again. Every time we have an attempted breach, we learn more. And we take that and we build better defenses. Almost every day of my life is spent looking at attempted attacks. My office, little bitty office, we're nothing compared to like an Ayala group. We're nothing. In my office, on a bad day, I get 2 million cyber attacks. On a good day, 500,000. So even a little bitty office gets cyber attacks continuously. I look at them every day. I see if there's something that I need to look out for that I wasn't prepared for. I make better plans and preparations, and I continue through the cycle. Cybersecurity is invisible. Facilities are very visible. Okay. Again, I'm now at 2 hours and 20 minutes. I need to get off the stage. Sir Vlog is going to never invite me back again. So I'm going to try to do this really fast. As I keep saying, I'm spending like 2 seconds per slide. Facilities environment are important. Next. You need to keep the systems running. You need to prevent damage from anything, from people tripping over cables, people stealing things, spilling drinks in systems, or even acts of God like flooding. Next. So I won't go through these, but I think you all are pretty aware of what physical things can go wrong. In the Philippines, we never have a brownout. We never have floods. We never have earthquakes. We never have anything like that. So in cybersecurity, in information security and assurance, we're looking at how we prevent these things from taking us out of service. Next. We need controls that prevent disasters. UPSs, surge protectors, fire suppression system. Hey, just a second on fire suppression. If your computer room has sprinklers in it, you do not have good fire suppression. Because if you wet the computers, they will not work again. I know that sounds stupid. When I was a little boy, about your age, and I was working in a computer center, we had what was called a halon gas fire suppression system. It went off. It blew the floor tiles in the computer room approximately 5 feet in the air with explosive bolts under the floor tiles. For those of you who have not lifted a floor tile, think something on the order of 15 kilograms, flying 5 feet in the air. And it released the halon gas. Immediately following that, the sprinkler system went off and drenched every computer in the computer room. Completely pointless. Environmental, humidity, heat, and smoke are bad for computers. Next. You also need to control the access, whether it's biometrics. We use biometrics, we use fingerprints and security code match. So if somebody even cuts off my finger, if they don't know my code, my dead finger doesn't help them. You also need security guards to monitor and separate routes for IT staff and maintenance crew. Next. Off-site tested backups. I do not know how many companies that I've worked with that say, yes, we have backups, and they can show them to me, but they've never tested them. When something goes wrong, they mount the backup and try to restore it, and there's nothing there. Test your backups. When you have something that you're using for data assurance, test it. You need clear recovery times, processes, and procedures, and an alternate space to set up when something goes wrong. Next. Policies and structure. Okay. We're just going to basically flip through these because you all are tired and I'm about to pass out. But trust me, there are a lot of documentation that goes with this. So policy, governance, and risk. Next. Security is by design, not by accident. When we're providing security, network assurance, data assurance and security, what we're really looking at is a big bunch of paper. It's written down policies and procedures. Ensures consistency across all staff, meets legal and contractual requirements, and keeps you on the right side of the law. Next. Again, I'm not going to go through all these because all of you are tired as well as me, but there's a lot of different policies that are necessary to run a business. And when you start in your data security career, these are some of the first things you're going to want to do. Acceptable use, password policy, bring your own device policy, backup policy, and incident response. You also have to be responsible to the board of directors, as well as management and the employees. Next. We do something called a risk management chart that looks at likelihood versus consequence. So if the likelihood is almost certain, but the consequence is negligible, we don't worry about it too much. However, if it's almost certain and it's catastrophic, we pay a lot of attention to it. So the compliance laws, I'm sure that somebody here has told you of the Philippine Data Privacy Act. I am a DPO, so I have to live by this. It's RA 10173, or the Data Privacy Act of 2012. It's just like GDPR for the rest of the world, except worse. The Philippines had to do one better, so it's actually more stringent than GDPR. It protects personal data of citizens and requires lawful processing and security measures. There are also other standards like ISO 27001, and there are huge penalties, millions of pesos if you violate these laws. Next. Plan, do, check, and act, the PDCA cycle. This is a part, for those of you who like buzzwords, this is a part of total quality management. It is a process that allows you to continually improve on what you're doing. Next. So I stole the next slide from the total quality management. You plan something, you implement it, you test it, and then you go back and check what went wrong, and you do it again. And you do it again, and you do it again until you get it right. So last part, or next to the last part, future threats and AI, my favorite topic. Or the future is already attacking. How the threat landscape is changing, attacks are now coming from AI. Deep fakes are used for fraud and misinformation. Cloud dependencies equal a bigger target surface. Supply chain attacks are hitting vendors first and then spreading into the customers. And global threat actors are using large language models to create their attack vectors. AI-powered attacks, AI writes the convincing phishing emails in seconds. Voice cloning can fake the CEO call, chatbots that manipulate users, and malware that rewrites itself to avoid detection. So you actually have malware nowadays that rewrites on the fly so that it doesn't get found. Deepfakes are one of the biggest topics in AI today because we are actually putting out fake news, people are believing it, and people are acting on that fake news. That's going to be one of the things that you have to do with data assurance and security. You have to make sure that the fake news does not get to your people. If you're working for a financial company and there's fake news that goes out that the interest rates just jumped 3 points, you could go bankrupt by doing things based on that news. I just put one example next. So my much unlamented ex-president, this is a AI of the ex-president. And actually the real side does not look as good as the fake side. I would believe the fake side better, although I lived with him as my president and the real side is the truth. But this is how good it is. I'm sure you all have heard of Nano Banana. I'm sure you've heard of things like WAN 2.2, Animate. I can be Taylor Swift if I wanted to on a video, and I can make her move and I can make her talk just as if I was Taylor Swift. I'm not a Swiftie, I do not want to be Taylor Swift, but the technology exists today. AI in defense, the good side. AI-driven threats detection is available today. Waza, Microsoft Defender, CrowdStrike. Automated patching and triage is available, and behavioral analytics for spotting things. We can actually look at our network now and see that this is not what usually goes on in our network and defend against it because it's abnormal. Finally, quantum computing and encryption. Everything that's encrypted today can be broken in seconds by the next generation of computers. Quantum computing is going to change the world. Post-quantum computing algorithms are under development, and companies must plan for crypto agility. I was supposed to give you a good 5-minute talk on how quantum computing works. I'm not going to. Emerging technologies to watch. Next slide. So what happens if everybody's Fitbit or our watch is hacked? Now they know exactly where everybody is. They know how fast you're walking. They know where you're going. I have a picture of my dad's car. My dad is going blind. We bought him a Tesla. Why? Because the Tesla drives itself. What happens if Tesla gets hacked? Drives him off a cliff, drives him into a tree. Cell phone, same thing. What happens when all the devices that we carry around with us every day get hacked? Next. Every innovation has two sides, opportunities and vulnerabilities. And the vulnerabilities is what's going to give all of you jobs in the future. Future threats need future defenders. Next. So here's the sales pitch. There are currently 4.8 million open cybersecurity jobs in the world. There are 457,000 in the US, and there are 2,000 in the Philippines as of today. The Philippine demand is going across banking, BPO, and technology. And security plus communications means you have a long job ahead of you. The next slide shows the shortfall heat map for the entire world. If you'll notice, if you have skills in cybersecurity, you can get a job everywhere except Africa. I don't think many of you want to go to Africa. Lots of deserts and lions and things that'll eat you. Not a nice place to be. Everywhere else, you can get a job in cybersecurity. The next slide, sorry, you can't see it, but basically what this is projected salary ranges based on years of experience and type of cybersecurity that you go in. But let me sum it up by saying you can make a lot of money. And the last one of these slides, I'm on 96 of 100. I'm almost done, I promise. I like this slide because for those of you who don't believe you can get a job because you're just a freshman and they'll all be gone by the time you graduate, the smallest, this is compound average growth rate. The compound average growth rate of every version of cybersecurity is no less than 10% per year. So if you're a freshman, by the time you graduate, there will be 40% more jobs. Next. I won't go over this, but there are many certifications you can get in cybersecurity. The latest one is the Advanced AI Security Manager, which is being piloted this week. It has to do with cybersecurity specifically for companies implementing AI. And for those of you who haven't been awake for the last couple of years, every company is implementing AI. So they need us to provide governance and leadership. And that's what matters. The CISO roles are now common. Chief of Information Security Officer is not something that's optional in companies anymore. There's a lot of different, next, technical specializations you can go into. CCSP, Certified Cloud Security Professional, OSCP, Offensive Security Certified Professional. These are the pen testing people or the red hats. And you can even do something like compliance with ISO 27001. Next. So when you're looking at your career plan, never stop learning. There's a place to start with fundamentals, and you can go all the way to wherever you'd like to be. Next frontier is AI security leadership. AI is inside every business. So next, two more. Security equals people plus processes plus technology plus leadership. The 5 takeaways that I wanted for today's presentation. Next. People are the first line of defense. If you're going to go into a cybersecurity job, you have to be able to deal with people. Physical access is total access. Layers protect, shortcuts expose. Compliance is a culture, and AI needs accountability too. Your role, starting tomorrow, pause before you click, question what looks too easy, share knowledge with your peers, and think security in every decision, because it's only going to get worse from here. And then 2 more, click. Closing message. Everything can break, but everything can be protected. That's what gives you all jobs in the future. Lead with responsibility and hopefully a little bit of humor. And finally, thank you for guaranteeing the future, because you're all of the ones that are going to do it, not me. Thank you very much.
For more ICCT College's video updates, please subscribe and click the notification button.